Hello folks and welcome. So LMDE 6, Linux Mint Debian Edition, Cinnamon Desktop. You can also probably use this for LM21.2 Cinnamon Desktop. So the question was asked, I have a question on the backup tool. I'm going to punch that up. So this backup tool, when it saves your backup, it saves it in tar format. That's tape archive. The question was, isn't there a tar tool in your file manager Nemo? Yes, there is. As a matter of fact, it does a better job in my book than this tool does, but I'm going to show you both examples today. For making backups, we can also use those backups to share files, another different concept. Now you can also think about it this way: if you have a formatted hard drive or a USB stick that is formatted in a certain way, then we can also talk about the same backups or file sharing on different operating systems. There's lots of ways to think about this. And also you can take a group of files and save them as a group and put passwords on them. Create it like a Pandora's box, and then you can put a key on it like a password. So if any of that stuff interests you, then continue watching. I'm filming in 1920 by 1080, so you can adjust your YouTube player accordingly. So this video is generally made for new users, but any user that wants to know about information like that, because I will make some medium to advanced concepts in here also. But I'll try to use very simple explanations. So anyone should be able to follow this, and especially new users. Linux for Seniors. This is blurred out. It's a watermark. That circle you should see brightly lit up between the off icon and my time and date of a person sitting here. You should be able to click that if you want to subscribe to Linux for Seniors. 270 videos and growing on all kinds of subjects. Linux is for any age. You'll find that information in my About section. I also have some links for you. If you don't see that icon floating around over here, look me up on YouTube, Linux for Seniors. All right, let's move along. Let's open up this backup tool. So the person asked about the backup tool, and yes, it does use tar, tape archive, as a general rule when it saves files. So this tool is very simple to use. However, it does have a major difference when you use your file manager, because your file manager can also save in the same format. And I'm going to show you the difference today. So your icon will be different, but this is my file manager Nemo. Your file manager Nemo also contains some tools under the hood that a lot of people, well, kind of overlook because they don't actually know either A, how to use them, or B, where to locate them. But more importantly, this tool here saves under default conditions your backups in Documents Backups. Your username, mine is LMNew today, could be Bob, could be Mary, but I named it LMNew, is going to be saved in Documents Backups. That's also where you're going to do your restore point by default. Again, by default. Sometimes you may want to save your backups on different devices, because maybe your hard drive is starting to go and you never know when it dies. And if you're going to save your backups on your local system, local hard drive, and the drive dies, well, you lost everything. So think about that one for a second. So today I'm going to talk about the upper half of this backup tool, personal data. There's a restore and a backup now. So we're going to do a backup now first. All right, the default is, of course, your home folder. Documents, Backups is where it's going to be stored. You can also choose other locations, but that's the default location. I'm going to do forward. Please add files or directories, another name for that is folders, to the list below to exclude them from the backup. So this will not be included, document backups, and you can't remove it. However, you can exclude other folders or directories. So another name for folders is directories. So the download folder I can exclude, or the download directory. All right, so I'm going to remove that and then hit forward to the next step. Now, some folks get confused with this, A, because maybe they don't have the experience level and they don't know how to look at hidden files and folders. So I'm going to talk about that. Again, I'm approaching this from the angle of a user that's never done this before. For the ones that have, just be patient. So I'm going to go to the home folder. What you see on the screen right here is the stuff that's visible. There's also hidden files and folders in here. Control H. Now you can see a whole bunch of stuff. You can also click the View menu if you did not know how to do this and use Control H, or you can just click that. But I'm going to use Control H. I'll toggle that back on. Now, since that folder is staring me in the face and it's right square center, the dot icons or the period icons folder is where I talk about quite a few times when I talk about mouse cursors or mouse pointers. That one is stored right in this folder. It's called radioactive. I usually talk about this on any Linux distribution. In my previous channel, I used to talk about another folder in your file system called USR share icons. That's where your default mouse pointers are located. This is your personal mouse pointers. That's one of the reasons I put them in here. Let's move on. So that's period or dot icons. Here's another file that is dot or period bash underscore history. This is a text file of all the terminal commands, just to give you that example. So I really don't need any hidden files and folders, but that's how you locate them. So that's what it's referring to when you include anything with a dot in front of it or a period. You can see lots of them in here. So I'm going to hit cancel and I'm not going to do any of that stuff. And now when I hit apply, it's going to generate the file. So it's going to successfully save that in your username, documents, backups, today's date, and time, backup.tar. Let's go find that thing. There's the file. So what is a tar file? Is it part of your road? No. So tape archive. It's been around since the Unix days. I've been around computers for over 40 years. I've been around Linux for about 31 years. I guess I need to do an update on my YouTube site. But anyways, so tar files are normally not compressed. Not compressed. Tape archive is what that stands. Tar file. So do I want to leave it on this current drive or do I want to put it on a different device? Well, I'm going to actually cut this and put it on this nice, clean, brand new hard drive that has nothing in it. But we can also share files also in here. This will be 1.3 gigabytes. I'm going to transfer in about 5 seconds. This drive is USB based. It's USB 3. It's a solid state drive plugged on the backside of my tower computer. That port's really quick, and more importantly, so is the backup. I mean the tar file. So it transferred 1.3 gigabytes on that USB hard drive in less than 5 seconds. All right, it's got everything in the box, sort of, but it's missing some stuff. And I'll point that out in a second. Now, I'm not going to use any applications. I'm going to use the tools that are available to me in Nemo, your file manager, and you will have these tools already installed. I'm going to hit Control A, which selects everything that you can see visible. I'm not going to bother with the hidden stuff. All right, I'm just going to visible files and folders, right? So all of these are folders, obviously, but they're all highlighted blue right now. That means everything is selected. And I can right-click any one of these things. To perform a compression? Yes, but I'm not going to use compression. I'm going to use tar. But it's part of that package that is under compression. Tar is not compressed. Tape archive. However, there is a different version of tar in here that does do compression. tar.7z, z, bz2, gz, lz, lzma, lzo, xz, and zst. Now I can breathe. This is not compressed. These are. So yes, your file manager has better options than your backup tool. I am going to put today's date in here for the name of the file. Now the name of the user is LMDE. Okay. So when I hit create, you're going to see a file getting created and it'll have a cryptic name on it, and then it'll change to that name I gave it. It's finished, 1.3 gigabytes. If my drive is fairly new, I would be probably putting that in that backup folder. However, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to show you this step for two reasons. You can also use this to, well, put files on USB hard drives or sticks for the purpose of moving those files to another system. I'm going to cut that. First, we're going to compare these two. So these are both 1.3 gigabytes, and you can see it takes less than 5 seconds to transfer. My drive is finished. So what I'm going to do is open both of them, and I'm going to compare apples to apples and show you some differences, because the question was asked, is there a difference between the two? There is. And to me, I prefer using the tools in the file manager for this purpose, because you're going to see that some folders are not copied with the backup tool, versus if you use the tools in your file manager, they are. Public and templates do not contain any files currently, so they are not copied in your backup tool. The reason I know this is the backup tool because it has the file called dot or period metamint. What's in there? I'll let you read that for yourself. That's all that's in there. But the public and templates are not part of this. There's another irritant of mine that I have some extra folders in here. I have this one and I have this one, also with no content. But I do put folders like this in my working systems that I sometimes put the files in and take them out, and put them in and take them out, and I transfer them back and forth. But I want to retain the folder names. When I make a backup, I'll put the total content of that backup back into maybe a new hard drive. Hopefully that made sense to you. So that's currently my documents folder. Let's take a look at these backups. And the other one is tar. So one more time, this one here that I'm shaking is done with the backup tool. This one here is done with the tools that are built into your file manager, Nemo. I'm going to open up the documents folder on this one, and then I'm going to open up the documents folder on the tool that made a backup of this. There's a major difference. First of all, this is self-explanatory. When we used the backup tool, it actually told you that it was going to omit or not include the backup folder, so it did not. It does not explain this though, or this. They're not included. I only have 3 folders and 4 files. I have 4 files, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folders besides the backup folder. And the only reason that this tool didn't back it up is because I currently don't have anything in them. So if I were to recreate the same scenario on the new hard drive, I would have to manually create these instead of bringing them in automatically, because they're not here. There's another scenario here I have in my pictures folder that is also different. I have 2 folders here, stuff and important pics, and then 1 JPEG. Stuff and 1, that's all. It didn't copy the important pics. Let me open up my pictures folder. You can see the folder right here. So you're probably going, is that a big deal? Not to most users, but it is to me. Okay, I want an exact duplicate because again, I'm sometimes transferring this to a new drive. So it did not make an exact duplicate. It left out all the folders with no content in them. Let's go back to the home folder. You will have these 2 folders on your system right now. And go look. Because when you set up your computer, these are auto-generated. These are not folders I put in here. So it made a copy of those nonetheless when I used the tool in the file manager Nemo. Using the backup tool in the Mint menu, it did not do that. So now that I've generated that, let's talk a little bit about why you'd want to put your backups on a different device instead of your booted in hard drive. Maybe your hard drive is dying. And when it goes, guess what? If your backup is sitting inside your documents backup folder, you just lost everything. So how do you do a recovery? How do you, after you reinstall your system, if that does happen, so open up the backup tool, and now you can do a restore. Now let's talk about restore. And I'll use the same backup that the system generated, this tool generated. I won't use mine, the one that I generated from the file manager. I'll use the one that I generated from here. So restore, pick that, and it automatically defaults to the name of your user, documents, backups. Obviously it's not here because I transferred it to the USB back. 1. So let's go click that. Now you can see that in there, along with my hidden trash folder because it's got a dot in front of it. So if I use Control H in here, it'll also make that disappear. All right, all that is a hidden trash folder. If you did not know, there's usually a hidden trash folder inside of these things. All right, with that said, I'm gonna just focus in on the file. So open that file. So you'll have your backup tool if you're gonna do it this way. Then you have your backup, now you need to answer the questions. Override, yes or no, and then forward. So far so good? Okay. So the major difference on these two, one more time as a recap, is the fact is, which one is that? Okay, here we go. Is this does not, the tool, the backup tool, does not copy folders that are empty. In other words, they don't have content in them. They have to have one file or more, whether the file has 0 bytes or not, for it to be copied in this tool. I normally don't go through the hassle of putting blank files in there anyways. But I do like the fact that it's going to copy these nonetheless, even though they have no bytes, so I don't have to recreate these, unlike this thing does. If I use this backup here on the brand new hard drive, I have to create similar folders like that. I'm not telling you I'm using the exact same names. I'm just telling you that I use these kind of folders quite often. But then you might not care. Maybe you don't care about empty folders. I do. I want to be able to see the exact same creations that I created when I do a backup. But anyways, so this is kind of like the shortened version. It just leaves out the blank folders. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about this drive here. Let's do a hypothetical. You're sharing this drive with 5 household members of your, well, 5 folks in your house. And some of them may be used mixed environments. In other words, some of them may have a Microsoft or a Mac system. Then format these with FAT32. You can open up this tool right here and format USB connected hard drives just by doing that. The stick formatter, yes, is generally meant for USB sticks, but you can use hard drives also. I've actually formatted a terabyte drive using this. So what are these things? FAT32 versus the rest of these. Well, FAT32 or File Allocation Table 32, if you are going to share this with Microsoft, Mac, and Linux, that's probably a good pick. You can certainly pick others. If you decide to use extension 4, you will have to deal with file permissions. Just wanted to make you understand that. So the user on the other computer doesn't have the same file permissions as you. FAT32 doesn't use file permissions, and you can certainly format that. Also, I would probably rename that. I don't like spaces when I rename devices, but that's just me. So again, these could be used on even this tar, I can use even on a Windows 11. So if I open this up on Windows 11, because it's a portable hard drive, I can use the pictures out of there and the music rather easily because they're common files, possibly even documents. What if you have some private files, but this drive is being shared by 5 people in your household? And you have to use this drive to share that. You would like to put some, sorry, wrong folder. You would like to put these 5 items on here, but you want to hide them, kind of make a Pandora's box out of this. I'm going to select all of them by dragging a line. You can also use Control A. Right-click any one of these things. So compress. So you know the tar is not a compressed. We know tar.7z is, tar.z, and all the way down here. These are all compressed. Tar is not. However, these are compressed files. .7z is a new modern compression. .zip has been around for a long time. It also has passwords. So does .war. 7z offers you a lot more though. So I'm going to rename that X. We'll make that a mysterious X.7z with password. and also encrypt the file list because I got more than one item. So that has 5 items. So it will generate a list. You can turn this on and off. You can also split the volume into increments if you're going to do that. I'm not. So let's talk about this for a second. Is this industrial encryption? No. This is good enough for home use though. This is good enough for home use. You can do this without or with. If you do it with, it will become like Pandora's box. You'll have to have the right key to open this. So again, remember that password. So I'm going to generate that, and you notice it's taking longer because this is not a tar. This is a compression. So depending on how many files and folders I have, it's however long it's going to take. I'm going to do a cut and paste. And then I'm going to do a straight tar out of all of these 5 items just to let you see the speed difference. Okay, we'll make a straight tar out of this, and I'll just use the word downloads. It's finished. Then I'll cut that and dump it on the same drive. So let's say you were not doing a total backup, but you were just wanting to share quickly files, and you didn't want to do them individually. You wanted them nice and neat in the box. So I made a tar box, or in other words, tar ball. I like to call it a box. It's just a nickname for it. So these are ready to be extracted without any intervention from any user on your household. This one, on the other hand, is meant for you. The mystery box, Pandora's box, what's in there? Well, if they don't guess the right password, that's what they'll see. Nothing. You have no idea what's in Pandora's box. It just says x.7z 43 megabytes. You need the key to open up Pandora's box. In other words, the right password. Now you can see the file list. Now you're ready to extract. All right, this is for the folks that have never done this before. There's multiple ways to extract files from this box. You can either do the whole thing, or you can do individual items. If I do individual items, I'll pick on this PDF because it's at the bottom of the list. You can do extract. Since I already gave it the password, it's unlocked and ready to go. It's ready for extraction. If I wanted to extract directly on the drive, I would just click that, and then close. And there's the file. If I close the box again, and I'm going to delete this on purpose, if I open this again, then it requests the password. So as long as the box remains open after you put the key in and unlock the box, then Pandora's box, unlock the X7Z, then it'll remain here ready for you to pull out however many you want. All I'm doing is clicking and dragging. I can even go into the subdirectory or subfolder and pull these out. So that's one way. Here's a different way. Again, for privacy reasons, I'll select all 5, right click and press. I'll pull this up in the air. So the bottom of the list is zip. Very common format, not only found on Linux, but Microsoft Windows and Macs. And it only offers password or not. So I will put in a password. It does not allow me to encrypt the list or split the thing into volumes. I'll call that one 5 and create. And cut and throw it on the common drive. So again, maybe your users in your home or household are all sharing this drive. They can certainly open up some of these. This one is like Pandora's box. This definitely requires a password for you to see what's in there. And if you don't give it the right password, you don't get to see what's in there. All right, this one I just created has lock symbols on them. You can see the file list. However, when you extract either all or a single item, it requests a password. If you don't put in the right password on LMDE 6, it will give you a thumbnail, but it will not be a proper file. It gives me an error. I'll do one more with it. I want you to see the error box, and I want you to also look at the file sizes. It's got 0 bytes, 0 bytes. Let me open these. Okay, I'll just pull it down. That way I can get rid of it. So In other words, it's no good. It's got 0 bytes, but I do have thumbnails for it though. Not a big deal. So if you do it right the first time though, if it's meant for you as the user who created the password, then you can open this on the current system or a different system. Again, keep in mind, you can think about this many ways. And as soon as I put the right password, I can see bits and bytes. I'll do the JPEG also. Now if I open this up, this is Crater Lake, Oregon, USA, if you're curious. And I'll right click just to give you a date on this thing. It was taken in 2021 January by a Sony camera. And then the PDF. All right. So let's do a recap here. You can use obviously these drives depending on how they're formatted for multiple purposes for either backups or you can use compression. The tools are all built into your file manager. Control A selects everything, and then you can hold down the control key to deselect items. Whatever you're wanting to deselect, and then just do a tar out of these 5. Or you can do everything. And then right click on any one of these, it doesn't matter which one. Do the compress. If you're using tar, tape archive, it does not compress. If you meant to compress a tar, then you would select tar either 7Z, ZBZ2, GZ, LZ, LZMA, LZO, XC, or ZST. Those are the options for tar. Tar by itself is not compressed, but these are. So there's a lot of options to think about. That's why I showed this in the file manager. And what does it also do? It also copies folders with 0 items in them. So you get a byte for byte if you want to call it that. The backup tool does not copy these folders. And by the way, these folders are on your system already. You will see them because they're part of your folder set when you install LMDE 6. And also if you create subfolders that have nothing in them, like I did here, using the backup tool will not copy these. You need 1 or more items for the tool to copy that. However, the tar tool that you use in your file manager copies these automatically, whether they have items or not. Thank you for watching.